Yeah.
Hmm.
So we have a couple of questions that have come in. So one of them was, why should anyone spend so much time to bring their leg behind the head? This feeds ambition very much. Why not spending that time just to sit still and meditate?
Huh. Well, putting your leg, some people find it easy to put their leg behind their head, and when they're just lying around on the sofa, they just flip their leg behind their head. It's quite an interesting thing. And so, placing the body into various asanas will give you and doing it mindfully, will allow you to feel different patterns of sensation patterns that perhaps are easy for you, and then finding in that complementary patterns that are perhaps difficult for you. And this will take you it'll start to undo habits of mind that might be revealed through just sitting practice, but sometimes sitting practice might not go that deep into the samskaras, because in just sitting, one can become tamasic or rajasic. And so sometimes, and it depends on the person.
Yeah.
And so for some people, simply sitting with good posture is helpful, but for other people, in that good posture, if they then roll to different patterns of habit, and it exposes habits or areas of the mind which are deeply hidden or deeply scarred, as in the word samskara.
Yeah, and so exactly that, depending on one's own circumstances, yeah, it could be something to try to put your leg behind your head and really force it, could be something that causes a negative manifestation of ambition within you. But it may not. And so to really exercise honesty when you are doing your asana practice, and to look closely at what it is you're choosing to do, what it is you have fear of, what it is you do. And you say, well, one of my favorite things to joke about is you say to, a normal person, and they go into a yoga pose, and you say, does that hurt? And they say, yeah, like kind of doesn't feel good on my hip joint or whatever. But you say that to an Ashtangi sometimes, not all Ashtangis, but some Ashtangis, and you say, does that hurt? And they say, not much. And that's when you notice that it actually, you're ignoring the sensations that your body's giving you, or the real reason, like I want to have my selfie, I want to have my Instagram post, and that's why I need to do that. So to really pick it apart. And if you are uncertain, whether it's the meditation and sitting still or putting the head behind the head, if you're uncertain what the motivation is, look again. And look at it not only theoretically, but in the moment when you are either driven or repulsed to do it.
Yeah, so the yoga asana is part of the actually tantric tradition, and this is where you're looking. It's not like you're looking for trouble, but you're going deep to find deep patterns of habit and misperception. And for some people, it depends on the individual. Sometimes they can simply sit quite nicely, and others will sit and become very dull and do years and years and years of sitting and simply are kind of snoozing. And so it
Yeah.
depends on the individual.
And that ties in with another question, can a tamasic state of mind cause too much lack of ambition? Exactly. And possibly would cultivating ambition at that point be a healthy balancing? And if you're defining ambition without separating yourself out from others, but if you can define ambition as something that is something that propels you ahead, but also leaves you deeply connected, then yeah, that could be, that could, kind of boot you out of the tamasic.
Yeah, so if you look at the dull, stuck state of tamas as being perhaps even excessively idolatrous, this is it, that's it. And you're just sitting there, and then part of your own mind, and then probably part of a lot of other people around you who know you, they're saying, there's a little more to it. And that would be then the dialogue getting started of the rajas, back and forth. And so the rajasic is going to open up opportunity. And of course, be aware of that. And so, but to actually see the rajasic in action is sattvic. And so you don't try to suppress, in the practice of yoga, you don't try to suppress the rajasic or the tamasic, but you just go, because all of these states of mind are considered sacred. And so if you're mindful while they arise.
Which is, it's kind of leads to this, we have two more questions, I think.
Good, yeah.
So how do you develop, how do you release and let go of ambition? And that's, assuming you need to, assuming it has become something negative, that has, the ego trailing alongside or propelling it. And how do you develop that skill? And it really is, it begins with just noticing. Noticing motivation behind the ambition is, and noticing if the ambition is doing damage to you or to someone else. And once you notice that, then if you're a nice person, and probably you are, then you find the path to practice tyag with it a little bit, to set it aside.
Yeah.
And then it was a great question, how do we cultivate the ability to yield and let go and revel in the pleasure that results from letting go? And that answers itself, is that when you let go and you feel how good it feels to do that, and juxtapose it with when your leg popped off and you were trying to put it behind your head, then that's how you do it, is really look at it openly and recognize, the good feeling of letting go.
Yeah, if we say the pleasure of letting go, you have to know that we're using the word pleasure not as simply a pleasant sensation, but as something deeper. It's a metaphor. And this comes from that sense of sharing with Sangha. In other words, other beings, possibly even human beings, but we'll take any being. That sense of sharing gives you that sense of, wow, it's a kind of an indescribable pleasure that doesn't fall under the category of just being an impermanent object of pleasure that you get attached to. And so it takes the community of all other beings to really get that sense of deeper pleasure, satisfaction.
And to bear in mind that pleasure and desire are not inherently negative, which leads to the last question. And it's, how do you deal with desire?
Right. Desire, I think, is a natural part of the mind. And so let's say I desire to be enlightened. Okay. And when you're practicing, that you'll notice that desire. I desire, or perhaps worse, I desire to reign over the universe and have all beings for breakfast on a daily basis, which means you got to be reborn as cereal constantly for me. But the fact that that's just part of manifesting in time and space, and is, a kind of desire. Even I desire liberation. Well, that's a kind of mental construction which you have to have an idea of what liberation is, but you've got it. You've got space and time, the mind manifesting. And so you have to see that desire it's separating the object of desire out, but desire in and of itself as a phenomenon is quite a nice vibration. It's just that when there's a subject and object, that it becomes infinite suffering. So you can't live with it, you can't live without it. So the manifestation of space and time, which is the process of avidya, or confusion, is sacred. And it's experienced as when you see that there's no one in there, then there's that sense of happiness and release.
It's a good lead into the chant.
Oh, yeah, there's a chant we were thinking of. And it's easy to research. And I'll pull it up here. And this is what's called a shantipat. So a shantipat is the descent. It's the chanting, the different chants of the descent of shanti, which means clarity. Often translated as peace, but shanti, also means this vibrant warmth. Warmth in the metaphorical sense of like, shan. And there's so many Sanskrit words and then Pali words and words in all of those related languages related to shan. And you just have to know what they mean by it. And so the Shantipat that precedes the Isha Upanishad, which we're talking about, we'll chant that a few times. And this one it's a funny one in that it tricks you, or it tricks most new practitioners, because the way the melody at the end of the chant, which everyone is used to, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. There are 3 tones involved, but in this chant, you're only allowed 2 tones. Okay. Which, it's very upsetting to many people at first, because often they'll make a mistake at the end. And so, I'll chant it, and then I'll tell you what it means, and then we'll chant it a few more times. And so we set the main tone of the chant by just saying Om. Purnam Adha Purnam Udam Purnat Purnam Udhachate Purnasya Purnam Adhaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll do it again. Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udhachate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti shanti, shanti. So I'll explain it, then we'll chant it a few more times. So, Purnam means whole, full, complete. Pur is full, like if your cup is full, you're Purnam. Okay. And so this, or that, Ada means that. So that, which is anything we refer to, like that lecture, is Purnam. And so that is Purnam. It is completely full, complete, wonderful. And then, that is the perfect, complete whole. Purnam idam. This, idam, is perfect and whole. So if we made an object, then the subject, or however you want to divide it. Purnat purnam udachate. It said that from the, out of the whole, comes the whole. So if you take the whole out of the whole, so if you have any image of what the whole is, be careful. Because we're going to take that which is the entire whole reality, and we're going to take the entire whole reality out of the entire whole reality. So from the whole comes the whole. The whole remains whole, even as the whole comes out of the whole. Okay. So, and that you're only allowed 2 notes. There's not a higher note. Okay. Om Purnam Ada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So that is the perfect whole. This is the perfect whole. From the whole comes the whole. The whole remains whole, even as the whole comes out of the whole.
Try getting ambitious about that. So, thank you
Thank
so
you very
much
much.
for joining us, and we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.